Listen, I did not want to be that guy. I did not want to have to come here and address the old debate of the Yonko versus the Admirals in One Piece. Here's your warning: if you are not caught up to the One Piece manga chapter 1055, please back out the video if you do not want to get spoiled, because we're gonna get right into it. First of all, I just want to say I told you guys so. I told you about Shanks. Now, this is nothing crazy to me because I've already seen this coming. A lot of the hints that we have been seeing throughout the story have shown us that Shanks was a powerful haki user. Like I said, Kaido had Shanks in his Fab 5. He is the only character left in Kaido's Fab 5 that happens to be alive. He was stopped on his way to Marineford by this very same Shanks. There's no way Kaido backed down to Shanks by conversation, because we already know that Big Mom was talking to Kaido on the Den Den Mushi, telling him that she will pull up to Wano to take down Luffy and for him to back off, and he didn't even listen to Charlotte Linlin. The very same Charlotte Linlin that he has sailed the seas with on the Rocks crew. Kaido is an elite character. He's boxed against Gear 5 Luffy. We understand Kaido's power, and Shanks was able to stop him on the way to Marineford. Now, this is not the first time that Shanks has stopped somebody. If we go back to Marineford again and he first pulled up, how many people were stopped in their tracks by just his arrival? Everybody starts to make excuses for the Blackbeard crew, saying how, well, listen, they just took down Whitebeard, so they had to leave. We get all that. Blackbeard got the Gurgur no Mi, but he realized that he was not ready for Shanks yet. That tells me that Shanks is stronger than Blackbeard at that time already. Some people would debate that, but that's where I stand. Now, the Marines are also backing down to the red-hair pirates. When Shanks first pulled up to Marineford, he challenged the Marines plus the Blackbeard pirates. He said he would fight them all alongside his red-haired pirates crew, and they backed down. Even though their odds were stacked up against the red-haired pirates, they had way more in numbers. This didn't phase Shanks at all. That's the other clue. Then we can look at Shanks versus Whitebeard. When they clash weapons, they split the sky. Now, we have seen this feat by multiple top-tier haki users in the One Piece world, so this is not crazy impressive after we've seen it time and time again. Kaido and Luffy split the sky. Big Mom and Kaido split the sky. We get all of these things, but there is a difference here in the fact that when Shanks was walking on Whitebeard's ship, he was knocking out people with Conqueror's haki, barely even trying, and these are the same people that had to fight the Blackbeard pirates in the Payback War. How are we ignoring these things? Then we can move on to Shanks' history. He has sailed the seas with Roger and with Rayleigh, the same Rayleigh who taught Luffy in haki, that was able to elevate Luffy's game to a point so high that he was able to box with Kaido. The same Roger that was boxing with Prime Whitebeard multiple times throughout the One Piece story. These are also the same Roger and Whitebeard pirates that have seen Odin, the same Odin that scarred Kaido. They made Odin look like he was garbage, just blowing in the wind. He was low tier. This is how Roger and Whitebeard made Odin look. This is how powerful they were. Shanks saw this firsthand. He was in the fights, and he has modeled the red-haired pirates after the Goldie Roger crew. And this is why I believe Shanks is the strongest haki user in the One Piece world. I've said this before chapters 1054 and 1055, and now it is solidified to me, because for the first time ever, we have seen an admiral turn his back and run just by the mere presence of Shanks. We've seen Admiral stop. We've even seen Ben Beckman, Shanks' right-hand man, stop Kizaru in his tracks. A lot of people made some points up about how Kizaru still continued to pursue Luffy after Ben Beckman stopped him in his tracks. To me, the fact that he made Kizaru pause should still be a credit to his power. Making Kizaru pause is insane because Kizaru was boxing against Rayleigh. Now, again, this is old Rayleigh. He's out of his prime, but still, that is an impressive feat. And this is the same Kizaru that said he was going to pull up on Big Mom and Kaido. He wanted to pull up to Wano, but now we see what it looks like when an admiral pulls up to Wano, right? But we'll get to that later, because now we have to discuss Sabo. His power is looking insane based off what we are hearing about him within the One Piece world, and these are things that I've also hinted to, because like I've said in the past, Monkey D. Dragon is one of the strongest characters in the One Piece world. It would make no sense to me for Sabo to be so much weaker than Dragon that he's out of the loop, because then the Revolutionary Army would have to rest clearly all on Dragon's shoulders. Well, good thing that's not the case. face. Good thing that Sabo's haki is actually as insane as I believed it to be. Good thing that after he got Ace's flame fruit, he was able to train with it, get stronger, because again, if we remember back in the Dressrosa arc, he just had it. He had it made for a couple of hours before he started boxing with Fujitora, who happens to be an admiral, by the way. Sabo was boxing with an admiral when he just got the fruit, but now he has had time to train with the fruit, and now he landed into the Holy Land, freed Bartholomew Kuma, alongside, again, Lindbergh was there, Morley was there, Karasura was there. We have to give some credit there, they were there, but we know who was really pulling the strings. Sabo was leading the front. He is an insane haki user. Sabo and Koalas had a few training sessions with Nico Robin, and now Nico Robin is taking down members of the Topi Roppo. Are we serious? Sabo has been insane, but a lot of people are still sleeping on his power. Well, let's talk about how Fujitora and Aramaki were at the Holy Land to stop Sabo. Now we understand you're in the Holy Land. The celestial dragons are all around the place. You cannot cause too much damage. But to me, that is no excuse, because in the eyes of a Sakazuki, you cannot make excuses if there are two admirals present. Even if you have to hold back damages a little bit, again, there are two admirals there. If Sabo was able to escape plus rescue Kuma while there are two admirals in the same vicinity, that is an L on the admirals. Sabo is now called the Flame Emperor by Morgans in the newspaper. Sabo now has more notoriety than Monkey D. Dragon. At what point are we gonna start giving Sabo his flowers? At what point are we gonna start giving Shanks his flowers? I've seen too many people talking about how Shanks is the weakest Yonko because we haven't seen feats, even though to me there were hints throughout the entire story, which I've been stating for years. Same with Sabo. Now let's talk about the admirals, because you know it's time to really dive in on these Yonko versus admirals conversation. Yonko versus admirals, for the most part, is now dead, with the exception of Captain Buggy, because we don't know what Captain Buggy is looking like right now. We don't know if he got stronger or if he was able to pick up some top tier crewmates. Again, like I said, Edward Weevil was still out in the world. Mihawk was out in the world riding solo. Both of them are riding solo. Who knows? Maybe Buggy picked them up or something. We have to see what happened with Captain Buggy. But outside of Captain Buggy, the Yonko are looking ridiculous. Monkey D. Luffy just unlocked his Devil Fruit Awakening. Gear 5th Luffy is looking top tier. He's ridiculous. Luffy has access to Advanced Conqueror's haki. His Gear 5th power can literally change the properties of the ground and everything around him, as well as the opponents that he is fighting, and he was able to beat Kaido. This is the same Kaido that fell from the sky and knocked down the whole Kid Pirates, had Apu and Hawkins and other people in the worst generation switching sides and swearing their allegiance to him. Luffy beat him. Granted, Kaido fought a lot of people. He fought the 9 Scabbards. He fought a lot of the worst generation. So can you argue that maybe Luffy beat a weakened Kaido? If you want to make that case, I'm not going to argue you. But I will say that Kaido did not suffer as much damage from the others as he did with Luffy. That we have to give credit for. We could talk about Big Mom. Law and Kid together in a duo defeated Big Mom. Now we understand that Law, to me, has carried more in that fight because his Devil Fruit Awakening did a lot more damage, and Law even pointed it out. He was saying how Kid was literally stealing off of his moves. But we can't sleep on Captain Kid's presence in that fight as well. His Devil Fruit Awakening, able to switch to poles, the railgun. Captain Kid looked amazing in that fight as well, but what it really points to me, is that this is the same Captain Kid that when he pulled up on Shanks, he lost an arm. When Kid pulled up on Kaido, he didn't lose anything. When he pulled up on Big Mom, he didn't lose anything. Shanks, he loses an arm. These are the things that I'm trying to point to. Shanks has always been highlighted as a person that you are not supposed to mess with. Every time Shanks is brought up, everyone is running. The only people we have not seen specifically run from Shanks would be Akainu and Old Whitebeard. Now again, you can make a case that if you want to say that Akainu can keep up with Shanks. I don't know where you sit with that necessarily, but where I sit with that is I believe that Shanks is the #1 haki user in the world. So Akainu has to show me some haki feats for me to even put him in the conversation. That's where I'm at right now, because according to Kaido's words, haki mattered. Roger was able to make the world heal as a pure haki user. These are Kaido's words. I'm not saying Akainu doesn't have haki, because we've seen it in the Marineford War, but I need to see, does he have conquerors? As a fleet admiral, I think you would need conquerors to even keep up with Shanks. And do you want to know why? Because Shanks had Aramaki running from Wano with just a little taste of his conqueror's haki. I mean, that is one of the craziest feats we have ever seen from Shanks. He has admirals running around the place not knowing where to go. Now people may be saying, well, Rob, that feat is not as crazy because Aramaki is one of the sorriest admirals of all time. And with that, I mean, listen, Momonosuke just got on the field like yesterday and he's telling Yamato, hey, listen, watch out. I got this. I need to prove to you guys that I can protect Wano when you're not here. Let me fight Aramaki. Let me box with Greenbull. And he starts landing bolo breath on Greenbull. Aramaki is looking terrible. He's looking down bad. And listen, I have to respect the forest fruit. It can obviously suck the nutrients out of a lot of the combatants. But you're beating up on a weakened 9 scabbards. You're beating up on a weakened king, a weakened queen. I mean, the nerve of Aramaki to pull up to Wano thinking like he's really gonna run it when he did not have anything really set. And it's so awful that Momonosuke is using him as practice. It is bad for the admirals right now. It is very, very bad. Sabo was able to escape Fujitora and Aramaki. Then Aramaki goes to Wano and he starts running from Shanks. He doesn't even see Shanks. He just feels the presence of Shanks' haki. And that's enough to make him quit. Yonko versus admirals is dead. That conversation is done. Outside of the fleet admiral, that is the only admiral that you should be talking about when you're bringing up Yonko. Again, there's exceptions. And the only exception I can think of is Captain Buggy. Maybe he found one of the ancient weapons. We don't know what's going on with Captain Buggy, but outside of Captain Buggy, if you are an admiral, it's tough. It's tough. You guys let me know down in the comment section below, man. Where do you have Sabo? Where do you have Shanks? You know me, man. Like I said, Shanks is #1 in the verse. Sabo made a strong case to be in the top 10. Automatically top 15, but he made a strong case for the top 10. You guys let me know down in the comment section below. And with that, I'll see you next time. Peace.